In terms of, I guess, trying to get people to understand the utility of blockchain, one of the things I think that it really does is it changes the current internet model, which is ad based and subscription based, to micropayment based.
What's the number one secret to unlocking the future of Bitcoin SV?
I think it's learning about it. I think that a lot of people, who have gotten in the crypto space within the last few years, misled is a strong word, but I'm going to use it. I think they've been misled by the mainstream narrative that's kind of been developed around BTC, which for those that are listening, BTC is the ticker symbol for what most people think is Bitcoin. It's trading, around $40,000 right now, and it's the main one. It's the one that most people have heard of. However, if you actually go back, way back when Bitcoin and the white paper first came out, 2008, 2009, and you learn about what the technology was supposed to be and what it could do at the time versus what it's turned into, I think that's where a lot of people just, they don't know these things. They don't necessarily know the history of what Bitcoin was supposed to be. And what that is, like we had already touched on, is a peer-to-peer electronic cash, something you can use in casual payments. I can go buy a cup of coffee with it, and pay a minimal fee to send the $5 for my cup of coffee. Versus BTC right now, the transaction fees, they're ranging anywhere from $1 up to $50, depending on how much volume's going on that actual blockchain. And when you think about a peer-to-peer cash, no one in their right mind is going to go spend $5 to buy a coffee and pay $50 in fees to go and send it. Same thing with Ethereum. The fees are around the same amount. So it just, in my perspective, thinking back to what Bitcoin originally was, there were two key things that were giving it value. It was useful, so I could send it, and I could send it extremely quickly and extremely cheaply, and it was scarce. So it had utility, and then it was scarce in the sense that there's only 21 million of these. So that's going to obviously give it value over the long term that I think should appreciate. So in essence, I think what people, should learn about Bitcoin SV, or if they're interested in getting involved in crypto, and a lot of my friends, for example, will just say, like, I just don't get it. Like, why is this thing worth so much? Like, what can you do with it? And I kind of scratch my head when I look at the one that's, $40,000. I'm like, I don't know what you can do with it, to be honest. It does seem like it's just kind of this quote unquote digital gold narrative, which you won't find that one place in the white paper where it talks about it being just an asset that you hold and digital gold and all that. I think that's nonsense. I think what it is the people that are looking to actually build and utilize blockchain within their applications, like what we've done with Haste. I think Bitcoin SV is what actually follows those original fundamentals that the white paper had set out. And just to give you an example of what that could mean, micropayments. So everyone's familiar with, subscription-based models right now. Like if I wanted to read an article in the Wall Street Journal, I start reading on it. If I don't have a subscription, once I scroll through the first paragraph, I get a pop-up basically saying, hey, to continue, you have to sign up for $14.99 a month or whatever it is to be subscribed to the Wall Street Journal. Well, I might not like all the content that they put out. I might just want to read this article. So now I'm missing out on that content. The Wall Street Journal is missing out on that revenue because I would gladly pay 25 cents or 50 cents to be able to read the rest of that article instead of having to, sign up for the subscription and create a new account. And, up until actual blockchain and Bitcoin in its original form were created, there was no way to process transactions of that small of an amount because of the fees associated with credit cards. So in terms of, I guess, trying to get people to understand the utility of blockchain, one of the things I think that it really does is it changes the current internet model, which is ad-based and subscription-based, to micropayment based. And that's basically what we're trying to prove with the Haste Arcade.
Excellent. So education on the useful utility, if we could go back to its first original intent, like how do we get there, right? Because it's basically, It's morphed into digital gold where somebody can buy it, and it went so high that if they wanted to purchase something, the challenge becomes it's not very it's expensive, right? I mean, they have tax, right? There's tax on it. It's a taxable transaction. It's no longer just like this peer-to-peer thing. It's worth so much. I mean, we had a client who bought Bitcoin for $50,000, and this is $30,000 to $50,000 at a very, very early adoption rate, and it went to $50 million. Okay, and so she never exited. She never sold. She's like, if I sell, I'm gonna get hammered in tax, and B, like, I believe in the future of Bitcoin. Like, I feel really good about it. She owned no other coin, by the way. It was just simply Bitcoin, and And then she found us, and then we helped her defer taxes. She exited 5 million of that, deferred about 2 million of tax. But the reason she did that was not only to defer the tax, but she had a place to put the money. And the place was a brand new startup company, a tech company, kind of like a Khan Academy, with her former college roommate. And she retired from the big tech company and she started her dream. And so I think that's so important to have both parts of it, right? Like what do you want to do with the wealth? What can it actually do for you? But if it's just out there in digital land, and we sold at 54,000 a coin, and it went up to 68, 69,000, and then it obviously dropped back to about 35. Yep. Now it's about 40. And so you have a lot of this capital that's sitting that wants to do these different things, but feels trapped by capital gains tax. So that's part of what we do. So I love what you're talking about. What you're saying is on the other side, by the way, if you want to learn more about that, anyone, you can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to learn more about that.